Babe, you should totally do ASMR. Not like the whispery weird stuff. I'm talking real sounds. City noises, traffic, rain on windows, construction. You hear that stuff differently. I don't know, you could make it feel kinda cozy?
It was the exact push I needed. The channel was doing okay. After 3 months of consistency and hard work, I was getting the views and even managed to bag a few thousand subscribers. But I needed something different for my Halloween upload. It had to be authentic, to really capture people's attention. That's how I ended up in a cemetery at 2 a.m. with my portable recorder. The place dated back to the 1800s, full of weathered headstones and ancient oak trees, perfect for capturing that eerie nighttime ambiance my subscribers seem to love. I spent 20 minutes walking the winding paths, recording the rustle of dead leaves and distant cricket songs. I was enjoying the ambiance when I saw a woman in the graveyard. She was standing beside a granite headstone, about 50 yards away, perfectly still in the moonlight, clutching the marble surface like she was trying to hold herself upright. I figured she was grieving, but then I noticed her clothes and a creepy feeling brushed onto me. Her clothes were dirty, and other than dust, she had some very suspicious stains, which could be blood or something else. Her hair was all messed up, and she looked badly beaten. "Hi, ma'am. Is everything all right?" She didn't reply. Thinking she's some homeless woman under influence, I minded my business and kept recording. But as I got closer, I could see she wasn't just standing there quietly. Her shoulders were shaking. Thick saliva was dripping from her mouth, catching the moonlight as it fell to the ground. Suddenly, she started gasping, like she couldn't breathe. "Ma'am, are you okay? I can call someone if you..." Before I could finish, she began vomiting. And in that clear moonlight, I saw her vomiting blood. Thick, dark fluid poured from her mouth, while her eyes rolled back in shortness of breath. It splattered against the headstone and pooled at her feet. Soon, trails of blood dripped from her eyes, rolling down her pale cheeks. I was only a couple of feet away from her when the woman's head snapped toward me with a sound like breaking bones. Her eyes weren't human. I shrieked and turned to run, but she moved faster than any human could. She got to me in seconds and grabbed my shoulders from behind. Before I could react, she rotated me towards her. She tried to speak, but only blood came out. Thick, clotted chunks splattered across my jacket and face, warm and reeking. The smell was indescribable, like rot and iron. I screamed and yanked my arm free, tearing skin against her grip, but she was relentless. Her other hand shot out and wrapped around my throat, squeezing until my vision blurred. My legs kicked uselessly beneath me, scraping against broken stone and damp earth. Then, with a guttural sound like a dying engine, she lifted me off the ground and hurled me across the cemetery. I toppled over the grass hard, but didn't stop to think or scream. I bolted straight out of the cemetery, like hell itself was chasing me, crashing through bushes and stumbling over headstones until I reached my car. I couldn't stop shaking until I got home, where Sarah was still awake, editing photos on her laptop.
How did the recording go?
I told her everything. She listened without interrupting. She looked pale, but I could tell she didn't believe me fully.
We should go back in the morning. In daylight. See what's actually there.
I didn't want to, but she was right. If there really was something wrong, if someone was hurt or sick, we needed to call for help. We drove to the cemetery the next morning at around 10. I found the headstone easily enough, though it looked less spooky in the daylight. There was no sign of bloodstains or anything suspicious. The name carved into the granite nearby read, Margaret Holloway, 1962 to 1995, beloved wife. An elderly man was tending nearby graves. Sarah asked him about Margaret Holloway. "Oh, you heard about Maggie," he said, leaning on his rake. "Poor soul. Her husband poisoned her back in '95, mixed bleach into her food over several weeks. She died a painful death, vomiting blood as her organs failed." My blood went cold. "Locals say her spirit never left," the old man continued. "Folks have seen her here at night, sick and suffering, just like when she died. Of course, most people don't believe in that sort of thing anymore." Sarah drove us home while I sat in the passenger seat, trying to process what had happened. I couldn't explain what I saw, but when I checked my recorder later, it had captured everything. 23 minutes of ambient cemetery sounds, then 7 minutes of gutturals, gasps, and chokings. For a second, I considered calling the police, but what would I even say? That a ghost attacked me? They'd think I was insane. I deleted the file, determined to put it in the past. I still make ASMR videos, but nothing involving graveyards or supposedly haunted locations. Some experiences aren't worth the content, and some sounds shouldn't be recorded. Sometimes I think about Margaret Holloway, trapped in her final moments of agony, reliving her death night after night in that cemetery. I wonder if she was trying to tell me something, or if she was just lost in her own endless suffering. Either way, I never want to see her again, but I do hope her soul finds rest someday.
I'm 15 years old and a sophomore at Lincoln High in Portland. My sister Leela is 3 years older than me and has been making ASMR videos since she turned 15, starting with simple whispering and tapping sounds that somehow attracted thousands of subscribers. By the time she hit 18, she had over 1 million followers and was making enough money to help our parents with the mortgage. Leela made those mukbangs videos where she'd whisper while trying different cuisines, recording sounds that her viewers somehow found relaxing. I never understood the hype, but our parents were thrilled and acted like she'd made it big, which is why they didn't hesitate when she asked for a private studio in the basement and stopped eating with the family altogether. 6 months ago, she brought home a fluffy Siberian cat and some albino rats for aesthetics. Leela would stay locked up in the studio the whole time. When asked what she was working on, she'd get this distant look and say, "I'm developing content for a more dedicated audience." Her subscriber count was growing fast too. Within a month, she'd gone to over 3 million subscribers. But soon, the sounds started bothering me. I'd been hearing Leela's ASMR through the house for years, so I was used to the whispers and gentle eating noises. But these new sounds were different. The chewing was wetter and more aggressive. Sometimes I'd hear whimpers and tearing, like she was eating too aggressively. What kind of viewers enjoy this? One night, our parents had driven to Seattle for Dad's work conference, leaving me, Leela, and her pets alone for the weekend. Leela was excited about having the house to herself, said she had a special project planned that required complete privacy. I shrugged and disappeared into my room. A storm rolled in around midnight. The rain was pounding against my bedroom windows, and I was having trouble sleeping. That's when I started hearing the voices again. There were soft whimpers and slurping. I had to check. The studio door was open, and light was spilling up to the stairs. I could hear her soft giggles as the whimpers grew louder before fading away.
Little one, just a second longer.
I crept down the stairs just far enough to peep into the studio. What I saw has to literally be anyone's worst nightmare. Leela was kneeling in blood, knife in hand. Her arms and shirt were smeared. Skin and fur clung to her fingers like wet tissue. The camera was rolling, while the ring light cast a soft glow over the mess. The mutilated body of the cat was lying on the ground, and my sister was eating it. Raw meat dangled from her mouth as she chewed slowly, letting every squelch and crunch echo for her forum followers. "Leela?" I gasped, horrified. She flinched for a second, then slowly looked at me.
Jeremy,
Leela slurped, continuing to chew.
come taste the heaven.
"What?" I said, inching away.
Whoa, don't be afraid. See how much views I get from these videos? We're gonna be super rich soon.
I started backing up the stairs, but Leela was already moving toward me. Blood dripped from her mouth, while fresh meat hung loosely in between her fingers.
They've taught me so much, you know,
She said, crawling towards me.
about angles and flavors and slicing.
"Who?" I gulped.
The audience. Here, this one's fresh. You'd love it.
She held out one eyeball, hoping I'll join her in this madness. Every few seconds, she'd stop and giggle.
Don't be shy. Eat.
I'm alone in the house, and if I had to survive, I need to play along. I sat down beside her, my whole body shaking in disgust. I took the eyeball in my hand and immediately vomited on the floor. Leela laughed like a toddler, clapping her hands.
You're such a softie. Come on, try again.
Leela offered a chunk of meat this time, but I couldn't stand anymore. I bolted to the living room. I tried to head for the front door, but Leela was faster than I expected. She grabbed my arm and dragged me back.
Get off me! You've lost your brain cells! You're sick!
I screamed, thrashing my arms and legs blindly. Leela merely giggled, as if my panic amused her.
You used to believe in me. What happened? This is the only thing that's ever made me feel seen. I'm not crazy. I'm finally alive.
I bit on her hand to tear free and bolted toward the kitchen, heart hammering. Leela was right behind me. I grabbed a chair and shoved it between us. She stumbled, just enough for me to keep going. I sprinted down the hallway, right into our parents' bedroom. I reached for the lock, but she kicked the door with everything she had. It slammed into me, and we both went down hard. She landed on top. Her breath was hot and sour, and her eyes were wild. In her hand, she was still clutching the knife she had used on the cat.
We could have had better footage. You ruined it.
She muttered, dragging the blade across my cheek. I opened my mouth to scream, but nothing came out. Terror had choked me clean. I could merely watch her raise the knife to silence my tremors forever. Just then, bright headlights swept across the bedroom window. Tires crunched gravel, and a car screeched to a halt in our driveway.
Jer, Lila, baby, we're home.
Mom called out. Our parents had returned earlier than expected. Taking advantage of her distraction, I hurriedly shoved Leela off and scrambled back, gasping like I just surfaced from drowning. Leela didn't chase me this time. She just sat there, knife still clutched in her hand, frozen and full of madness. When our parents discovered the truth, they were horrified. Leela now lives in a mental institution. Last time I visited her, she was talking to the walls. I can't even recognize my sister anymore. Her obsession to be seen in the internet didn't just ruin her. It ruined our entire family.
The day it happened started like any other. I'd driven my van 5 hours deep into the mountains, chasing a spot I'd scouted online. It was a quiet clearing wrapped in tall pine trees. The air was crisp, with cozy monsoon vibes and a soft crackle of campfires nearby. It felt like a hidden gem, perfect for my ASMR channel, which had finally started gaining traction. I pitched my tent and set up fast. I locked the camera in for golden hour as the camp stove crackled to life, exactly what my subscribers eat up. For a while, everything went as planned. The chopping footage was crisp, and the sizzling meat created satisfying crackles. I was already imagining the comments. Then the sun sank, and the coyotes began. The first howl came from maybe half a mile west, followed by an answering one from the north. 10 minutes later, they were howling from every direction, drawing a full circle. I kept filming, trying to play it off as authentic wilderness ambiance, but my instincts screamed danger. Coyotes don't box you in unless they're hunting, or unless something bigger is hunting them. I ducked into my tent to eat and film the final segment, almost desperate to get it over with. The mesh windows gave me a clear view of the darkening forest, while the camera captured every bite. I lifted the first piece of steak, eyes on the lens, when a sudden movement at the window knocked the air out of my lungs. I turned to look at the window and saw a pair of wide blue eyes staring back at me. Someone was standing in the dark and observing for God knows how long. I only saw the eyes and a patch of forehead, yet I could tell the unknown intruder was smiling at me. I screamed and scrambled back to find something to defend myself, but as I looked again, the man was gone. It was just empty darkness outside my window. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely unzip the tent. Somehow I made it into the van and slammed the car door shut. For a while, nothing happened. Everything was so still. I almost convinced myself I'd imagined it all. It could be fatigue, or maybe just the mountain and forest playing tricks on my mind. 5 to 7 minutes passed. No suspicious event occurred. But suddenly, the passenger side door handle rattled. "Evening, beautiful." Someone spoke in a masculine voice from outside, with this weird cheerful tone that made my skin crawl. I loved your ASMRs and the aesthetics. The handle rattled more aggressively. "I've been watching you for months," he said, circling the van. Those location tags are literally lifesavers.
Who are you?
I stuttered. A loyal follower, he murmured, his voice shifting closer. I drove 6 hours for you. The least you can do is come out and say hi. Maybe give a little autograph? I tried to start the engine, but it rumbled twice and then died. He tapped on the window. Oh, sorry, but I kind of messed up your car. Hope you don't mind.
Are you nuts?
He planted his face on the glass window and murmured, You know, you're even prettier up close. I couldn't waste a chance like this. I even brought my own camera. How about we film a video together? I was terrified, but managed to stay calm. He wants me to be scared, but I won't let him take the upper hand. I screamed back.
You think I haven't dealt with worse than you? Stick around, I'll let the cops handle what's left.
He paused for a second, then climbed onto the roof. The van rocked under his weight. I tried the engine again. It just won't work. He started jumping on the van, yelling like a mad hound. To make it worse, the weather got rough. It started drizzling before a total downpour took over. Through the streaming windows, I caught glimpses of him jumping down, circling the van like a vulture. I dialed 911 and told the operator about my whereabouts, secretly hoping they'll reach me before this crazy psycho does. Rain makes everything more dramatic. He laughed, pressing his face against my window. His shirt was gone. His pale skin was gleaming wet. He started licking the window, and trust me, I've never seen such a big tongue. I tried the ignition again, but the engine was completely dead. Through the rain, I saw him hefting a rock the size of a bowling ball. He moved toward the back of the van, toward the rear window. Panic flooded my system. I must get away now. I raked my eyes all over the place. The heavy rain had stolen nearly all visibility, but it had made the ground slippery, and my van was parked on a slope. My hand shot to the parking brake. If I could just... The rock smashed through the rear window. Glass exploded everywhere as his arm reached through the jagged opening, reaching for me. I yanked the parking brake. The van lurched forward, rolling down the incline. He screamed as the momentum ripped his arm back through the broken glass. My arm! You witch! I needed to go faster. I pumped the brake pedal to steer around the trees, the van sliding wildly down the slope. Through the mirrors, I saw him chasing after me, blood streaming down my arm. The van hit level ground, and I slammed the ignition again. This time, the engine caught. I floored it without looking back and didn't stop until I reached the nearby town. The man's name was Daryl Rothborn, and he was caught 3 days later at another campground 50 miles south. Turns out he's been running this stuff for over a year now, targeting young women who posted their locations online. He got life without parole. I quit YouTube, deleted everything, but I still wake up sweat-soaked, knowing that somewhere out there, more psychos like him exist.